Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the I Didn't Read Your Book podcast. I am your host, Lutch, and today we are going to be talking with Christine Milkovich-Krause about her book, Teddy Loses His Ears. So as we can see here, this is a kid's book. If you are a longtime listener, you will remember that this won't be the first time I am talking about a children's book or book series. We had Darshan McAway, who was originally on the show to discuss his book, Girlfriend versus Wife Duties, brought up his Anaya's Adventures series. So definitely, if you haven't seen those episodes, specifically if this interests you and the if you have children, the Anaya's Adventures is definitely something that we want to look into. But today, that's not what we're talking about. We're doing something different. We're talking about Teddy. So, obviously with a children's book, we're not really going to be expecting to, it's pretty straightforward. Teddy loses his ears. Teddy looks like a cat. Teddy lost his ears. I'm sure we'll figure out how that happened. And there's going to be a moral of the story. So I highly doubt that we're going to spend too much time on the content of the book itself. But there is definitely, just because the content of the book is for children doesn't mean, as we saw with the Anaya's Adventures episode, that it's, there's nothing to talk about around, around the existence of the book. So, cute little picture here. Those huge eyes. How do you not be drawn to those? I always like green eyes as well. But Teddy loses his ears. Let's dive right in and read the back of the book. Teddy is a rescue cat who lost his ears from frostbite. There we go. Teddy has inspired a series. There we go. I'm 2 for 2. Teddy has inspired a series of stories with his true life adventures that share relatable messages of kindness and acceptance. True life adventures. Meaning, like, they really had a cat that lost his ears to frostbite? I guess we're going to find out. Teddy hopes that his stories will raise awareness to the organizations that saved his life and thousands of other animals' lives every year. So that, I guess that does sound like this is something that happened to the real Teddy or a real Teddy or, a cat of some sort. And so talking about the organizations. So, Teddy hopes that his stories will raise awareness to the organizations that saved his life and thousands of other animals. So I guess the question is, which organizations are they? I'd be very interested if this was like a PETA book, because that would, there's a lot of controversy. Let's just say there's a lot of controversy around PETA. But I'm going to assume that it's a more overarching message, and it says organizations. And I kind of feel like if you were pushing PETA, that's you're kind of in that lane. So I'm hoping this is going to be a little bit more about, a little more talking about the animals and, organizations in general and practices and stuff like that, rather than a particular organization, just because I'm not really up to date on the ins and outs of what any given organization is doing. But that's really cool. I think more than maybe a lot of our subjects that we'll talk about, it can be hard to balance, talking about the book itself and the other things that surround the book. So with this, obviously, again, Teddy got frostbite and lost his ears. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be too much more, maybe a twist or something. But other than that, I think I really want to find out, what got Christine into, wanting to write about these things, why children's books, and what her relation is to Teddy. Is this a cat that she knows? Did she work at one of these organizations at a shelter or something? Yeah, sounds really cool. Again, with a children's book, there's not too much for me to analyze in like in terms of what do we think we have here. But I am very, very excited for this conversation. Not only because I don't necessarily know where it's going, but unlike when we are talking about a book and I just have no clue what the book is even about, or you know what the person, like, at least going into this, I understand that, okay, Christine is an animal lover, and she has, you know, she works with organizations that help animals. That's a great jumping off point for me, even if, you know, the story is not something that's going to take up a lot of the runtime of this episode. That's something that we can, you know, animal rights and saving animals and this and that. And you know, I would like to hear her thoughts on like, you know, veganism or vegetarianism or whatever it is. These are the kinds of things that we can dive into, because while the book itself is going to be for children, obviously the author is an adult. So without further ado, let's bring in Christine.